of Representatives. Remember, it passed in the Senate 60-40 on Monday night, and now all the members of Congress are rushing to get back in town. Of course, there's air traffic problems, and so. But I think it's on a path to be voted tonight, which means if it's voted tonight and then brought over to President for signature, the money will start flowing again, and maybe the air traffic control problem will clear up within a couple days. And number two, relevant to this is all this push by the Democrats to extend Obamacare tax credits, which were introduced during COVID because Obamacare was such a miserable disaster. Now we'll see the Democrats, they want to extend those credits for another 3 years. The beneficiaries are not the American public, but in fact the insurance companies. We'll have a lot more on that later. Number three, Phil Klein, legal expert, professor of law at Liberty University, and the former Attorney General for the state of Kansas, will be here to talk to us about the tariff decision coming up by the Supreme Court. I think he's going to take, a contrary view to mine, but we'll see. And of course, he's the one who's the professor of law, not me. Number four, Donald Trump interviews last night with Laura Ingraham was quite interesting. You got a lot inside view of his idea of how to build something. Quite fascinating. But also, he kind of stepped on it, I think, with some comments about extending H-1B visas. I think a lot of people disagree with the president on that, but we'll see. Number five, Tom Papper joins us at the bottom of this hour. We'll talk about all the things that are going on with the Border Patrol in Memphis, and I regret to say I think there'll be another, wait for it, Kilmar Abrego Garcia update. Number six, Tom Zalestowski with the We the People Convention will join us in hour two. We will get his analysis of the political consequences of the shutdown and the upcoming vote and Obamacare. And then number seven will be joined here in studio by the one, the only, the very best Trump impersonator in the world, Sean Farash. Now, they have had facsimiles, those who attempt to be Trump impersonators. They had a guy on Fox News earlier this week, I think. He wasn't as good as Sean. Sean is just much better. Sean is the real deal. So there you go. That is the morning rundown for Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. You know, this is the part of the program where we talk about our friends at the Glock Store, the CEO and founder, Lenny McGill. The Glock Store has been a sponsor of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show for years now, even before it was the eponymous Michael Patrick Leahy Show. And I've been lucky enough to go to every one of the incredible yearly Glock Store open houses. Well, this year, Glock Store set their sights on Black Friday. You know, that's the big sale the day after Thanksgiving. And it's an event you're going to want to try and attend from wherever you are in the United States of America. Maybe you're here in Metro Nashville area. Maybe you're at one of the edges of the state of Tennessee, down in Memphis, or up in Mountain City, or maybe you're in Virginia, or maybe you're in Pennsylvania, maybe you're in California. But come on down. The details are just coming together, but if I had to guess, I'm thinking huge discounts on everything, including Glocks and the latest and greatest in performance parts. And yes, knowing the Glock Store, there'll be more than a few great giveaways. Now, of course, all the great Black Friday deals will also be available online, but the real party, the party, will be at the Glock Store just a few miles from the airport right here in Nashville, Tennessee. On the web at Glockstore.com. That's Glockstore.com. That's the Black Friday celebration from Lenny McGill and the one and only Glock Store, minutes from the Nashville airport. Yeah. By then, I think the air traffic controllers will all be back at work. And, you know, you can fly into the Nashville airport. You can take an Uber and be there just a mile or so from the airport. I mean, maybe even less than that. Or we don't have the tunnel yet. But, you know, we're trying to get Elon to put a little stop at the Glock Store. Maybe he will. And it's also worth the drive from anywhere, especially on Black Friday. So there you go, Glockstore.com, Glockstore.com. Okay, so now let's go and talk about the shutdown vote. And this is interesting because, let's see what Hakeem Jeffries has to. He's the minority leader. Interesting how we've got the minority leader in the Senate is from New York City, Chuck Schumer, and the minority leader in the House is from New York City, Hakeem Jeffries, and the new mayor, the Muslim Marxist mayor of New York City, Mamdani, doesn't think either of them are radical enough. And so as a result, they're all moving to the left. And here, moving to the left this morning, is Hakeem Jeffries.
On behalf of an amendment that Whip Catherine Clark and I are introducing that would extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for 3 years. Millions of working class Americans all across this country are struggling from the high cost of living that exists in the United States of America. This country is too expensive. Now, Donald Trump and Republicans promised all throughout 2024 that costs were going to go down on day one. But costs aren't going down for the American people under Republican complete control of government. Costs are going up. Housing costs up. Grocery costs up. Electricity bills through the roof. And now, because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatically increased premiums, co-pays, and deductibles. In some cases, everyday Americans, working class Americans, middle class Americans are going to see their premiums go up by $1,000 or $2,000.
Okay, and why is that? Well, because Obamacare, which only Democrats voted for, is a complete and utter economic disaster. Everybody knows that. Tom Emmer has a few words to say about the desperation of Hakeem Jeffries. Let's play this clip. Right, he's a congressman, a Republican congressman from Minnesota. Here we go.
We're going to reopen the government, Brian, and good morning. Good to be with you. We're going to reopen the government as soon as these Democrats in the House give us the chance to vote on it. It'll get done. In the meantime, what you just played, it's very sad. I mean, 40 days plus they shut down this government. And for what, Brian? For absolutely nothing except to hurt the American people. It's the exact same CR that we passed back on September 19th. The only difference is you now have a new date of the end of January, and then they added the 3 appropriations bills that were basically ready to go back in September. So this has been a bunch of nonsense, and his gibberish that he keeps pushing out, it's doing nothing for the American people. They're smarter than the soon-to-be former leader, I believe, of the minority in the House gives Americans
Ooh, there's
credit.
a shot. Soon-to-be former leader. What do you think? Well, look, clearly this proposal this morning to extend these credits to 3 years is because he's afraid of the left from Hakeem Jeffries. And he's being challenged by some, Mamdani socialist. Hey, we'll have more with Phil Klein when we get back. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Attorney General Miyares and John Fredericks talk about skill games.
They're unregulated slot machines.
They pop up in 7-Elevens in every corner of Virginia.
The General Assembly has spoken on this.
Skill games.
These things are illegal.
It's the Wild Wild West. Fights break out. Robberies increase.
Skill games.
They prey on the less fortunate.
I say it's a tax on the poor.
They're breaking the law.
My job is to enforce the law. These machines are not allowed.
Enforce the law and get them out of there.
When you see skill games, call the local sheriff.
These things are illegal.
Paid for by Churchill Downs.
President Trump is rebuilding our economy, but we need every American in the fight. People leaving federal prison have a 60% unemployment rate, but a job is the number one factor in preventing reoffense. The Safer Supervision Act is a pro-jobs bill. It helps people leaving prison on federal supervision rejoin our workforce to turn former prisoners into taxpayers. Strengthen our economy. Make America safer. Support the Safer Supervision Act. Visit safersupervision.com. This message paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Why is Purple Wave Auction the fastest growing heavy equipment marketplace? Our full service online auctions take the hassle out of buying and selling farm, construction, and fleet equipment. Thousands of business owners partner with Purple Wave each month to manage their equipment. Sellers count on our experienced professionals to handle the marketing, paperwork, and payments. And bidders trust in a marketplace free of reserves and hidden fees. Purple Wave is the turnkey online auction service you've been looking for. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
Cold weather will be here before you know it. At the same time, power outages are on the rise. So here's an important question. If the power goes out when it's really cold, do you have a way to stay warm? If not, you've got to check out the Avesta off-grid space heater from My Patriot Supply. It's a compact, portable space heater that doesn't use electricity. It runs on something called canned heat, which is an indoor safe fuel. It's completely off-grid, and it can heat up a 200 square foot room in a matter of minutes. With Avesta stashed in your closet, you can rest easy, knowing you and your family will stay warm, even if the power goes out. Plus, it doubles as a stove to boil water or cook food without electricity or propane. The best part is, you can get Avesta and a bunch of other free gifts when you order the Winter Prep Special from My Patriot Supply. Just go to mypatriotsupply.com to see everything included. This offer won't last long, and neither will this nice fall weather, so go to mypatriotsupply.com today. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
I didn't risk my life for this country just to watch career politicians wreck it.
Matt Van Epps, 9 combat tours, true American hero.
Now, I'm on a new mission to bring down prices, create good-paying jobs, and lower healthcare costs for working families. I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message to fight for America, because that's what I've done my whole life.
Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We welcome to our Zoom Newsmaker line right now a friend for many years, the former Attorney General for the state of Kansas, professor of law at Liberty University, Phil Klein. Welcome, Phil.
Good morning, Michael.
So last week, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments on the tariff cases. And that is, the Trump administration used, I think, a 1970s Emergency Powers Act from Congress as justification for all these tariffs that have had significant national security impact and foreign trade impact for the United States. A number, I think 5 plaintiffs, including small businesses in the state of Oregon, represented by the well-known effective far left, shall we say, Supreme Court attorney Neil Katyal. They went before the Supreme Court, and it was kind of rough sledding for the president. It all hinged on something called the non-delegation doctrine, and whether or not there was, an intelligible principle communicated in that 1970s Emergency Powers Act. Where's this going to go? What are your thoughts on this, Phil Klein?
Well, first of all, outside of the context of the immediate case, the court's interest in the non-delegation doctrine is well overdue and helpful for conservatives in the long run. What we saw during COVID, and I believe, Michael, when we look at COVID over time and stop looking at it through the political lens in which we viewed it at the time and how things were politicized, we will see that it was really one of the greatest shifts in wealth in United States history, and that much of the motivation for the exercise of emergency powers was driven by that shift in wealth from small mom and pop stores, which were shut down and actually never reopened, many of them during COVID, to the big tech and online and big box stores, which were exempted from some of the lockdowns. So, but in any event, there you have, in the various states, delegations of authority to the executive branch that basically say, if there's an emergency, you become the king for whatever period of time is necessary to resolve the emergency. Now, some states had time limits, but those time limits were evaded and so forth. The non-delegation doctrine says that the legislative branch really has to have a protective role in determining policy and law that impacts the United States citizen. In other words, we disperse power throughout government as a means of constraining government from arbitrary power. And what we saw during COVID was the arbitrary and capricious application of all kinds of law that was basically decided by the governors when they got up in the morning. And those laws and decisions picked winners and losers, and generally the winners they picked were friends of them. So the non-delegation doctrine needs to be revived to kind of constrain the executive branch and to respect the separation of powers. It's been dead and dormant way back to the 1930s and 40s. And so to see the court have an interest, particularly Justice Alito, in raising the issue of the non-delegation doctrine is a significant step. And Michael, with that, you have the reversal of Chevron, which was a court deference to the administrative branch. So you see the court pushing back on this shadow government, this deep state, this administrative power. And we need, I believe, to generally support that effort. Now, there's another issue with what the president is doing. The president is exercising tariff power under a grant of authority given by Congress. And what Justice Alito is saying is, did they really constrain it in any way? Or did they just wholesale tell the president, you can do whatever you want, there's no constraints on you, which would be a violation of the separation of powers with the non-delegation doctrine. Now, the administration has a response here, in that this involves foreign relations. And typically, that is recognized as a constitutional power of the presidency, and that the non-delegation doctrine should apply differently there than it applies domestically. But I am encouraged by the court wanting to raise this non-delegation doctrine again, because the Biden administration was an abuser of emergency orders. They sought to accomplish objectives they couldn't accomplish through the democratic process and congressional involvement by creating an imperial executive. And I don't think that's what we want in the long run.
With regards to the president's issue of tariffs here, under this Emergency Powers Act from the 1970s, will the court outright reject his authority, even though I think he would argue that within that law, there were intelligible principles he could use to act upon? Will it require? Will the court kind of set a new standard here in this case?
Well, I think the court. I think the odds for the president in winning an outright victory on this case is long, and that is because there are other issues relating to that Emergency Powers Act, and whether he has successfully demonstrated that we are having an emergency, and additionally, whether the term regulate trade includes tariffs, which those who oppose the president exercising power here say really is a tax as contrasted with a regulation. So I think the case is going to turn in that area. I don't think it's going to turn on the non-delegation doctrine, but I believe that the court's interest there is good to hear, and it bodes well for future cases. Now, if the president loses this case, he has like 5 other provisions of law under which he can justify many of these tariffs. Now, some of them are limited in a way. They require investigations by the Commerce Department or the United States Trade Representative about certain findings of unfair trade practices or things that involve national security, things along those lines. But the Trump administration, I believe, has shown a strategy of using this authority, exhausting it in time if they lose, and then pivoting, because many of those investigations and findings are on the way. And I believe they will, if they lose, pivot to these other areas of law to justify many of the tariffs that they have imposed.
Now, Justice Barrett, in her questioning of, I think, Neil Katyal, for the plaintiffs in this case, she said, look, there's a donut hole in the law. The president has the authority to entirely cut off imports of specific products, and you're saying he can do that, but he can't place tariffs on them. How do you think that'll play out in this, Phil?
Well, the president does have the authority to engage in embargoes and so forth, and the administration was arguing, saying, look, if we can cut off trade to a nation, certainly we can do tariffs. It's going to hinge on whether the tariffs fall within that word regulation of trade that is found within the Emergency Powers Act. And there's some precedent that is challenging to the president there that will play a role. So it's Michael, I'm not the best prognosticator here. I'm uncertain, but I think the odds are against the president on this one. And I think you will see the president pivot to other authorities under the law. But I don't believe this will be decided on the non-delegation doctrine. It's not the best case to decide it on, I don't believe.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. What are the odds of a split the baby decision?
Such as?
Well, isn't that what John Roberts did in NFIB v. Sebelius when he called the Obamacare penalty a tax in one case and a penalty in another instance?
I think if there's a so-called splitting of the baby, it will come with what the remedy is.
Yeah. I think you're...
And that's where the court might find a way to not impose upon the administration the immediate requirement of refunding.
Yeah, the refund will be disastrous. And the president has signaled to the Supreme Court, what a disaster that will be. When do you think, Phil, we'll hear the final decision on this one from the Supreme Court?
Well, it's either going to be December or January.
Yeah, they'll move on it pretty quickly. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Brace yourself. Brace for impact, Phil.
We're going to be seeing this going on for quite a while, Michael.
Phil Klein, excellent analysis. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Thank you.
All right. Phil Klein, the great Phil Klein. Back with Tom Pappert after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation. Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Is your pet ready for some possum fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message.
Meet woke liberal Afton Bain.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Afton Bain, so woke, she thinks it's a win to harass police.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Woke liberal Afton Bain. When she wins, we lose.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges. No charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul-off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are joined in our Zoom Newsmaker line right now by the twice nominated this year for local journalist of the year, Tom Pappert, nominated for the Dow Prize. We'll learn whether Tom Pappert, Christina Botteri, and yours truly have won that prize. Let's see. It'll be a week from tonight. I'm going to a big reception in Washington, D.C., black tie, and we've been nominated, the three of us, Tom, have been nominated for this National Journalism Prize in local journalism for our reporting on the Covenant Killer Manifesto and the never-ending story of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. We must be up to like $11 million now in legal fees from 4 different high-end law firms to protect the due process rights of the illegal alien who's been illegally in this country since 2012, who has a final deportation order in effect, withholding of removal to one country, be it El Salvador or Guatemala. The document says Guatemala. Everybody else says El Salvador. And this is the same guy who's now been indicted, and there's pretty strong evidence that he's for alleged human smuggling, the story that you broke back in April. Now, Tom, it seems, I don't know, the litigation here is sort of, and the judge's rulings remind me of that old sort of 1920s silent film, The Keystone Cops. It's the Keystone Judges, it seems to me. I suppose that's an unkind thing to say, but I think it's pretty true. Describe this story. Now, it was published late yesterday by you. Headline: Judge modifies Abrego Garcia gag order after prosecutors warned it included nearly, wait for it, 300,000 Department of Homeland Security employees. What was the gag order, and on what authority did U.S. District Court Judge of Middle Tennessee Waverly Crenshaw issue that gag order?
Well, Michael, I'll start by reminding everybody, of course, this is an Obama-appointed judge, as they all are in the Kilmar Abrego Garcia case. He has extremely lucky draws when it comes to finding judges to review his criminal and immigration issues. Now, this is the gag order that was requested first, I believe, 3 months ago by Abrego Garcia's criminal defense attorneys in the human smuggling case. They claimed that remarks by cabinet members, specifically Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, even people like Tom Homan and Stephen Miller, though, were making comments about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the so-called Maryland man, that would make it difficult for him to receive a fair trial. And they cited a local court rule in the Middle District of Tennessee that said that you're not allowed to make statements that are prejudicial in nature, which would, again, reduce the ability to receive a fair trial. And the judge, Michael, this is what's so funny about this. The judge is so slow and careful and plotting, and yet he somehow manages 3 months after the request lands on his desk to issue an order that would have gagged 300,000 DHS employees, according to the prosecutors. And this wasn't just DHS, by the way. This was every single agency under DHS. So FEMA, the United States Secret Service, the Coast Guard, everybody would have had to have met with the Middle District of Tennessee prosecutors to receive instruction about what they are and are not allowed to say about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. So, dare I say it, it seems to me this was an utterly incompetent order from the judge, and he didn't even notice it until the prosecutors landed another motion on his desk saying, "Excuse me, Judge Crenshaw, this is seemingly ridiculous. Did you mean to do this? And then in about a 10-word order, Michael, he very quietly and without much pomp and circumstance says, okay, yeah, we'll revise it to the version of the order that the prosecutors submitted. Now, Michael, if it were me, I think the prosecutor should have gone further, though. I think that this local court rule in the Middle District of Tennessee is not appropriate to impose upon cabinet level officials, upon the Trump administration as a whole. I think they could have gone further, these prosecutors, in the request to the judge, but at least that poor prosecutor, Robert McGuire, doesn't have to make time in his calendar to meet with 300,000 employees over the next couple weeks.
Well, also, to me, this seems like a violation of the First Amendment rights of those subjected to the gag order. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem were to simply read one of the stories that we have at the Tennessee Star that you've written. Does this gag order prohibit her from reading our story out loud in public?
Now, on paper, no, because we stick very closely at the Tennessee Star to the facts of the case as they stand in the indictments and as we can prove beyond 100% of doubt. But it's a bit different, in my opinion, for a cabinet-level official. They got very upset when she got up on television and claimed things like he's an MS-13 gangbanger who deals drugs and etc. These things have not been proven. Some of them are not alleged. But the DHS is well aware of Abrego Garcia's situation. They are the the defendants in 2 court cases brought by him right now. The Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, is also the plaintiff in the criminal case against him. So, Michael, it's not as though they are some passerby, some bystander, some media pundit like us saying these things. These are people who are litigating against this person. I just think it's a bit different than somebody in the media.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and this is a peculiar rule to the rules of of criminal procedure differ. You've got some broad rules of criminal procedure that apply to all federal district courts. And then some that are unique to each of the, I guess there are like 90 some odd federal district courts out there. They each kind of develop their own rules. This is actually unique to this particular venue, correct? Middle Tennessee.
That is my understanding. I think many venues have similar rules, but not all of them, because this is, again, something that is sort of a given and could be determined by a district court judge without the rule being in place, merely saying or simply issuing an order saying, please stop making extrajudicial statements about the defendant would have cut the mustard. But in this case, this is a local rule set up by a federal court in the Middle District of Tennessee that, again, yes, they are imposing on people in Washington, D.C., in New York, in Florida, and up until Crenshaw modified his order yesterday, all 50 states and all the territories of the union.
Where does the criminal case stand now, Tom Pappert?
Well, it's very interesting, Michael. Of course, when I was on the show earlier this week, we pointed out that Judge Paula Zinnes, in the immigration case, that judge, she is weighing a request right now to lift the injunction blocking his deportation. If that injunction is actually lifted, I wouldn't hold my breath, then he's out of the country very quickly, and the criminal case goes on a back burner until he ever decides to re-enter. I don't think he would do that if he had a criminal case hanging over his head. If he is not deported, Michael, then in December is when the evidentiary hearing will be held. Remember, Abrego Garcia is trying to prove that the Trump administration is vindictively prosecuting him, and that is when the judge has moved that hearing. He's set to reach trial in January, but at this point, I'm just not so sure that a January trial is going to be logical or even feasible when they're still trying to prove whether the case is crooked the month prior.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And the case will take place right here in Nashville, correct?
That's right at the downtown courthouse.
It won't take place up in Cookeville then, which is kind of the nearest.
No, interestingly, no. It will be in the Middle District of Tennessee in Nashville, Tennessee.
Interesting. Do we have any further information about all the money that's being spent on these. There are 4 very high-end law firms. And if you look at all the proceedings on the criminal side, you've got a New York law firm, the Hecker and Fink. You've got Sherrard and Rowe here in Nashville, all very expensive law firms. How much do they charge an hour there? Like $800 an hour, $1,000 an hour for this kind of legal service, I think. And then you've got Maria Sario, and what's the other immigration? Quinn and the other immigration?
Well, it's not actually an immigration firm. It's one of the biggest white-collar law firms in the country, Quinn Emanuel Sullivan, and I think there's a fourth name I'm missing. They've represented Elon Musk. They've represented the Kardashian family. This is a major league law firm that I think when I looked them up, the bill that for a paralegal or something like that was $600 an hour.
For a paralegal?
If memory serves.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say these are
very
attorneys
expensive.
at like $1,000 an hour. How many attorney hours per week are these 4 firms spending? Would you guess?
It's hard to guess, Michael, but sometimes you will get a filing, just one filing for Abrego Garcia, say in the immigration case. It will be one filing and then 19 attachments. One has to imagine that's a full work week for at least one lawyer, but you would certainly imagine at these major law firms, a group of paralegals, 2 or 3 lawyers, somebody reviewing the work. This has to be the full-time job of a lot of people right now.
My guess is that between these 4 law firms, you're getting at least 200 hours billed a week at $1,000 an hour. That's $200,000 a week, and this has been ongoing since March. So we're way up there. I think ultimately we're going to have to find out all the money that's been spent on legal fees for the due process rights of the illegal alien who's been charged with human smuggling, who has a final deportation order in effect. I'm guessing it'll end up now. We're at $10 million. It'll be much more than that. Tom, when we come back, what's going on in Memphis? Back after this.
Is a record player the best way to listen to music? Of course not. So why are you still taking vitamins in pill form that haven't been upgraded since the 1930s? Even if you don't have trouble swallowing, most vitamins in pill form can't be absorbed very well. It's time to upgrade to the pill-free future of vitamins. Advanced nutrition company, Healthy Cell, created a patent-pending ingestible gel that is clinically proven to have 265% the absorption rate of tablets. These physician-formulated supplements come in a small gel pack. You tear off the top and shoot it down. You can also mix it in water. They taste great, they're convenient on the go, and they're more natural too, without chemical binders, fillers, and coatings. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com. HEALTHYCELL.com.
Cold weather is here, and it's only getting colder. When you want instant whole room warmth, you go with Eden Pure, a trusted name for years on my show. Now they've done it again with the Eden Pure Gen 40 Plus infrared heater. This powerful compact unit gives you fast, even heat you can feel in seconds. Infrared heat warms you directly, not just the air around you, and it doesn't dry out the air. It's quiet, compact, and safe with multiple built-in safety shutoffs, and it heats up to 1,000 square feet, perfect for the living room, bedroom, or office. And right now, Eden Pure is thanking our listeners. The Gen 40 Plus normally sells for $224, but Eden Pure is giving our VIP listeners an additional $50 off, bringing it to just $174. That's right, only $174 for state-of-the-art infrared heater. Now, this is a limited time offer with a strict limit of 3, and supplies are moving fast. So go to EdenPureDeals.com, use promo code Godzilla50. EdenPureDeals.com, promo code Godzilla50.
Get in. We're stealing homes. We're not like those other home criminals that steal your stuff. We steal your hard-earned home equity. We find your property online from the public record. Got it. Create a deed transfer that makes us the homeowners. Got it. Then borrow tons of cash against your equity, and you won't know till the foreclosure notice hits months later.
Just go to HometitleLock.com/Godzilla. Protect yourself.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby tackle today's biggest issues with a New York state of mind.
We are going to talk about dirty money.
This is a total failure of the media, the journalists, and the Democratic Party.
Treat yourself to a bite of the apple.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
Cats and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
And those are the big headlines of the day.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show on our Zoom newsmaker line right now. Our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network, Tom Pappert. So, Tom, Memphis, the Memphis Safe Task Force has been very busy. You've got a very interesting story here that was published yesterday at the Tennessee Star, TennesseeStar.com. Headline, Memphis Safe Task Force helps locate missing Tennessee child in Hawaii. Oh, that's kind of a weird story. Tell me about that.
Well, Michael, it is a very interesting story, and this comes on the heels of the task force officially locating more than 100 children since it deployed. This child is a 15-year-old who is a native of Memphis that went missing on September 1st. There was some reporting indicating that they may have been at some sort of residential facility, but that hasn't been clearly reported. What is clear is that from September 1st until November 4th, there was absolutely no sign of this young person, this 15-year-old. We don't even know a gender, by the way, until on November 4th, a call came in from Honolulu, Hawaii, to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It said it was from the operator, the foreman of a construction site, who said, hey, I'm employing this guy. He's got a kid living with him out of his van, and they're living on the construction site. I'm going to kick them off the property. That tip made it to the the Memphis Safe Task Force, who were able to coordinate with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, the Memphis Police Department, and law enforcement in Honolulu, Hawaii, to find this child just 2 days after the report came in on November 6th. The child was in custody and is now, at latest reporting, awaiting return to Tennessee. The father apparently has a lengthy criminal record in California and other parts of the country. It's not clear how they even got this minor from Tennessee to Hawaii. The last time I checked, there's no bridge to make that connection. But what is clear is that thanks to the Memphis Safe Task Force, this child is no longer living out of a van in Hawaii on a construction site and is now headed back to the continental United States where their family is.
Reminds me of that old Chris Farley bit on Saturday Night Live. You know, he was living in a van down by the river. In this case, the young child's father was living on a van on a construction site in Honolulu, Hawaii. This is kind of weird, isn't it? It sounds like it's the father was not the custodial parent, obviously, but we don't know, was the custodial parent a mother in Memphis, or the child was living in some other circumstances. Is that right?
That is what was reported from the Marshals Service. They reported that the child had left a facility in Memphis and was last seen on September 1st. From my reading, again, we don't know. This hasn't been stated. The U.S. Marshals Service is being very tight-lipped, I think, because this is a minor.
Mm-hmm.
But my guess is this was a child who was in some sort of state's protective service or foster care and decided to go missing and find dad in Hawaii.
Find dad in Hawaii. Yeah, that's probably the case. But there are so many missing children that this Memphis task force has found. It said more than 100 missing children have been located since the task force was deployed in September. Yikes. How can there be so many missing? Is it all? What's the nature of these missing children situations? Are they basically children who are in custody disputes, or are they children who have come across the border? What do we know about these 100 missing children here that have been found?
Michael, the details have been somewhat sporadic on the specific cases, but from what we've seen, it's a little bit of everything. In one case, I remember reading, this was a minor who was in the house of individuals who were gang members. There was alleged drug use going on at the house, and the minor had been missing for a number of weeks as they were partying with these older gang members.
Oh,
that was just like one example.
That sounds like a very healthy situation. Probably,
I'm sure, and probably sexual assault taking place, and who knows what else. Yeah. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
but Michael, we have also heard of these illegal immigrants bringing in children into Memphis that are now being recovered and brought back to their country of origin. So I think it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And remember, there were 10,000 outstanding warrants at the beginning of this Memphis Safe Task Force deployment. That's in addition to the people that are being arrested because they commit a crime right in front of a police officer. These are people who had an outstanding warrant. There have so far been 2,500 arrests. I think they have a long way to go, and I would not be surprised if we see this total children recovered statistic double before the Memphis Task Force leaves.
And we're seeing all sorts of reports that the populace in Memphis, the average people, are very pleased with this Memphis Safe Task Force.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a city that has known it's had a public safety issue for really generations. And I think that may be what makes Memphis unique compared to some of these other democratic cities that are refusing any and all support, is Memphis wanted help. They've been looking for help. Now they finally got it.
And the Democrat mayor down there, Paul Young, welcomed the help. Unlike the mayors of Chicago and Portland and Seattle and Los Angeles and soon to be New York City. Tom Pappert, excellent reporting. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael. Always a pleasure.
When we come back, Tom Zalestowski will join us with his comments on the shutdown and the attempts of the Democrats to kind of revive the terrible Obamacare waste of health care. Back after this.
Ponder this. I was recently talking with a friend who said she was praying to God for her to accomplish big things. And by the way, this friend is currently reaching many through her writings and podcasts. But she wanted to do even bigger things for God. My comment to her was perhaps God did not want bigger things from her, and that doing more was her wish and maybe not God's. When we pray, we may want to follow the same path that Jesus did in the Garden of Gethsemane. We should make our desires known, but ultimately we should ask that not our will be done, but God's will, and then continue to pray for God's will to be done in and through you. After praying in this manner, we must then trust that the Lord will answer our prayers in accordance with His will for each one of us in order for us to get to heaven and to bring as many people with us as possible. Pray, trust, and persevere in prayer. This is the path. I'm Susie Kelly at ponderfulmoments.org.
Is your fur maybe looking a bit rough? Transform them from shaggy to snazzy with Befur and After Pet Grooming in Marietta, Georgia. Their top-notch groomers pamper your pups with baths, custom cuts, and nail trims that'll have them strutting like show dogs. From mobile grooming vans to their cozy salon, they'll make your pet spa day a tail-wagging blast. Book now at BefurandAfterGrooming.com. Befur and After, where pets go from grr to glamorous.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio.
WJFN W224EB 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB 107.7 Bon Air, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJ.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. After the Senate signed off on a bill to reopen the federal government, now it's up to the House, and a vote there is expected today. Once the bill clears the House, it would go to President Trump for his signature. The shutdown continues to take a heavy toll on air traffic controllers.
After a weekend that saw thousands of flights canceled, airlines canceled another 1,700 flights by early Monday afternoon and nearly 1,000 for Tuesday. The Senate took a first step towards ending the shutdown Sunday, but final passage could still be several days away. Tuesday will be the second missed payday for air traffic controllers and other employees of the Federal Aviation Administration. It's unclear how quickly they might be paid once the shutdown ends.
Correspondent Marissa Duhaney. Transportation Secretary Duffy says he supports the idea of a generous bonus for controllers who've shown up for work throughout the shutdown. Turns out it was a father and daughter. They were on a hurricane relief mission who died in Monday's small plane crash in South Florida.
The Christian missionary group Ignite the Fire has identified their founder, 53-year-old Alexander Worm, and his 22-year-old daughter Serena as the people who died in a small plane crash near Fort Lauderdale on Monday. Their 1976 Beechcraft King Air plane was carrying humanitarian aid bound for hurricane victims in Jamaica when it narrowly missed some homes and crashed into a pond in Coral Springs. Deputy Chief Mike Moser is with the Coral Springs Parkland Fire Department.
We received several 911 calls of a plane that had crashed in the waterway in the lake behind these homes here. Our fire rescue and police department responded.
Audio courtesy WSVN. I'm Jennifer King.
The FBI-led Joint Terrorism Task Force will investigate what Attorney General Bondi calls violent riots at a Turning Point USA event on Monday at UC Berkeley. On Wall Street, the Dow trading about 401 points higher. The Nasdaq is down 130 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-304-3399. 800-304-3399. That's 800-304-3399.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
A rare blackout hit the entire Dominican Republic yesterday, snarling traffic and paralyzing businesses in the country of nearly 11 million people.
Officials blamed a failure in the grid's transmission system, although it wasn't immediately clear what caused it. Generation units in San Pedro de Macorís and the Quisqueya power plant shut down, triggering a cascade of failures at other transmission and generation plants, according to the Dominican Electricity Transmission Company, a decentralized state agency. It wasn't immediately clear how quickly power would be restored, but as of Tuesday night, some 15% of the system was back online, according to Energy Minister Joel Santos. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Top diplomats from the Group of 7 industrialized democracies are meeting in southern Ontario. Canadian Foreign Minister Anand is hosting Secretary of State Rubio, as well as counterparts from other countries, including Britain, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan. News and analysis at townhall.com. There's a big baby formula recall to tell you about.
Baby formula manufacturer ByHeart has recalled all of its products sold nationwide. That comes days after some batches were recalled during an expanding outbreak of infant botulism. State and federal health officials say at least 15 babies in 12 states have been sickened in the outbreak since August, and more cases are pending. All of the infants were hospitalized after consuming ByHeart formula. Parents and caregivers who have the formula in their homes should immediately stop using it and get rid of the product. Babies with symptoms of infant botulism need immediate medical care. I'm Haya Panjwani.
The Southeast has set low temperature records even before winter officially arrives. A freeze warning affecting some 18 million people extended across Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. That cold spell moved from the northern plains and brought an abrupt transition to winter-like temperatures. More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. We welcome to our Zoom Newsmaker line right now our very good friend for many years, the founder of the We the People Convention in Ohio, the one, the only Tom Zalestowski. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Michael. Glad to be with you again.
Well, we are still in the shutdown. It is day 43. Monday night, the Senate voted 60-40 to pass a new version of a continuing resolution that would keep the government open until, I think, January, using the fiscal year 25 budget numbers. That bill is going before the House of Representatives, we think, sometime later today. It needs basically needs to pass there, and then once it does, very narrow margin, 2 votes for the Republicans, it would go to President Trump for his signature. What, Tom, did the Democrats accomplish with this 43 days shutdown that continues until the House votes?
Well, they managed to hurt millions of Americans. They managed to, hurt our military, our police, our air traffic controllers, people who really do deserve federal benefits. And they did that all, Michael, for one reason, and that was to try to protect their biggest funders, and that's the healthcare industry, who we are now finding out how many tens of billions of dollars they have stolen from taxpayers since Obamacare was implemented, which you and I fought. And in fact, the entire Tea Party movement was fueled by the fight against Obamacare. And that's what this was about. They shut down the government to try to force $1.5 trillion of our money to be paid out again to these healthcare giants to give us poor health care, and that money gets recycled back to the Democrat candidates. That's what this was. Obamacare was a scheme from the beginning to basically target the American taxpayer for the benefit of Barack Obama and the communists who are trying to overthrow our country.
Yeah. And they seem to be doubling down on this whole thing. Did you see this morning Hakeem Jeffries said, all of those subsidies that we authorized for, I think it's like the subsidies, I think, go to the health insurance companies.
Yes, directly.
During COVID, they were supposed to end now December 31st of this year. Hakeem the whole bit about this shutdown was, well, we were going to keep the government shut down until you extend those subsidies from the end of December throughout for another year. This morning, did you see Hakeem Jeffries said, we don't want to extend them just for 1 year. We want to extend them for 3 years. This looks like a sign of desperation from a guy who's about to be challenged by a Zoran Mamdani communist.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Listen, they're dreaming. President Trump is all over this. I love the fact that President Trump is saying to the House and the Senate, okay, you can vote on this in December. I want you to give that money directly to taxpayers so they can shop for health care and get the best plan they can. Oh, my goodness, Michael. free market capitalism. We can't have that in the age of government health care, right? That's what we got to have. And all of your listeners and viewers should call their congressmen, House and Senate, and say, listen to President Trump. Don't you send the healthcare companies another dime. Send it to the people, and only the people who qualify, not illegal immigrants and not scammers.
Yeah, from a messaging point of view, the Democrats seem to be absolutely convinced that the way to go here is to call this, bad Republicans who are trying to stop, just every American from getting their proper health care. They hit that and hit that and hit that. The Republicans have been a little slow to respond to that, it seems to me.
Well, the Republicans get some money from the healthcare industry also, don't they, Michael? You and I mean, this is our life, folks. Those of you listening and watching, Mike Leahy and Tom Zalostowski, spent 16 years trying to get people to understand that government health care wasn't just bad medicine and wasn't just bad economics because it would make it cost more. It was a liberty issue. It was a way to control you. If you can be denied health care, you'll do whatever they tell you to do, as we saw in COVID. And guess who wasn't with us on that? How about Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell and the people who promised Trump, oh, yeah, we got a plan right here to repeal Obamacare, don't you know? Except they didn't, because they liked the idea too, Michael. And that's the dirty little secret that we know and that not enough other people who support the Republicans understand.
Tom, I'm trying to remember, because I know that Ben Cunningham and I and Mark Skoda and several other Tennesseans went up to the Capitol in March of 2010 were participated in the rally before the vote was held. I recall very clearly, I was one of the, they had 100 of us get up and speak. I was one of those 100. And I got 5 minutes. And there's a clip of Fox News of me going, gotta stop this, gotta stop this.
Yeah.
I had my 5 minutes of, it's the video of me talking. It's not, like I was saying. I was preceded as a speaker at that event by the actor John Voight. Very nice fellow. And, of course, everybody back home was delighted to see the pictures of, yours truly with John Voight. My kids thought, oh, yeah, pretty good. But what's interesting about that, Tom, did you go down for that rally? Do you recall?
We were not even, really involved with that rally. But if you remember, Michelle Bachmann saying, come to D.C. and stop them. You and I, the Tea Party, elected Scott Brown to replace Senator Ted Kennedy in the Senate to block Obamacare. And it's a good thing we did, because they had to modify it because of that, which allowed us eventually to dismantle a lot of it. But my point is, the Republicans were on board. They're still on board because they take money from big healthcare and big pharma. And that's why we got to get rid of the filibuster right now. And we've got to start to fix this, because it's bankrupting us, Michael.
Yeah.
It's the reason why most Americans don't have any free capital to spend, because their healthcare premiums are so high.
They're ridiculously high. This is going to come to a vote in the House of Representatives, I think, tonight. We can only afford to lose 2 votes on the Republican side, and maybe there'll be some Democrats who join. Where do you think this is going to go? Where is Thomas Massey going to vote against this?
That's a good question. He might. I don't think so. I think Murkowski and Collins and all the other characters will be on board.
Well, the Senate's already passed
it.
The Senate's already passed it. I'm talking about
that's right.
The shutdown
House,
vote tonight, right? And we
so
can
there'll
only
be
lose 2 votes.
I think they'll get it. I think J.D. Vance may have to vote. Again, that's unfortunately our situation. It's that close.
Well, he won't be voting in the House tonight. He only votes in the Senate. But
see, I'm sorry, Michael. Thank you for correcting me.
All
You're right. I've got my things juxtaposed. So yeah, I guess it's just a matter of Johnson putting down the law and President Trump working the phones. And I mean, I'm being told it's going to pass. President Trump's going to sign it, and we're going to get on
you're
with
being
it.
Told
but
that?
I guess I want to make this point. This point is important. What did we get, Michael? This bill has been passed 14 times by Biden. This is Biden's bill. This is Pelosi's bill.
It's their
budget. What did we actually get, Michael? We didn't get anything. So I don't call this a win. I just say this is a chance for us to continue the fight.
Tom, stick around because there's a fascinating poll. You've not seen it yet, but it comes from Scott Rasmussen's new group, Neapolitan News Service. I will tell you the results of it, and then I want you to give me your analysis in real time, because I think you're going to look at it the same way that I do. But we'll find out. Tom Zalstowski joins us after this.
Ponder this. Do you think the world is heading off the rails and that many people have become unhinged? In America, we see people rioting, looting, and even killing to express dissatisfaction and disagreements with contrary lifestyles and points of view. Take heart. God knew from the beginning of time that these conditions would come about, and He chose each one of us to carry out His mission of love and justice at this time in history. We each have a role to play. Some of us will have a very public role, while others are called to keep peace and calm where they are planted. Many are called to raise God-fearing children in healthy Christian families. Wherever God has placed you, pray to know His will for you. Pray hard. Sometimes persistence and perseverance in prayer brings amazing results. God is listening and often wants to hear from you over and over again. Your job is to know God's will for you and just do it. And pray, trust, and persevere. I'm Susie Kelly at ponderfulmoments.org.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby tackle today's biggest issues with a New York state of mind.
We are going to talk about dirty money.
This is a total failure of the media, the journalists, and the Democratic Party.
Treat yourself to a bite of the apple.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
Cats and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
And those are the big headlines of the day.
President Trump is rebuilding our economy, but we need every American in the fight. People leaving federal prison have a 60% unemployment rate, but a job is the number one factor in preventing reoffense. The Safer Supervision Act is a pro-jobs bill. It helps people leaving prison on federal supervision rejoin our workforce to turn former prisoners into taxpayers. Strengthen our economy. Make America safer. Support the Safer Supervision Act. Visit safersupervision.com. This message paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Why is Purple Wave Auction the fastest growing heavy equipment marketplace? Our full service online auctions take the hassle out of buying and selling farm, construction, and fleet equipment. Thousands of business owners partner with Purple Wave each month to manage their equipment. Sellers count on our experienced professionals to handle the marketing, paperwork, and payments. And bidders trust in a marketplace free of reserves and hidden fees. Purple Wave is the turnkey online auction service you've been looking for. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
I didn't risk my life for this country just to watch career politicians wreck it.
Matt Van Epps, 9 combat tours, true American hero.
Now, I'm on a new mission to bring down prices, create good-paying jobs, and lower healthcare costs for working families. I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message to fight for America. because that's what I've done my whole life.
Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We welcome back to our Zoom Newsmaker line our very good friend Tom Zawistowski, founder and president of the We the People Convention in Ohio. Tom, buckle up for this one. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So, you know who Scott Rasmussen is, right?
Absolutely.
The pollster. And so he's had a number of different polling companies, and now he's got a polling company called RMG Research, which works with the Neapolitan News Service. He runs both of these things. He conducted a survey of 1,000 registered voters online, November 5th to 6th. And, you know, he sampled it. Certain quotas were applied. The sample lightly weighted by geography, gender, age, race, education, etc. 1,000 registered voters, margin of error plus or minus 3%. Okay? Would you like to know what the question was?
Absolutely.
The question was, will Zoran Mamdani, here's the survey question. This week, Zoran Mamdani was elected mayor of New York. He calls himself a democratic socialist and advocates policies like city-run grocery stores, a $30 per hour minimum wage, and taxpayer-funded centers to help people change gender. Will Zoran Mamdani be good for New York or bad for New York? That's the question, right? It sounds like they're kind of accurately describing his policies, right?
Is this a poll of New Yorkers or nationally?
Nationally, okay? This is a poll of nationally. Let me just go back and double check that on the survey of 1,000 registered voters was conducted online by Scott Rasmussen. Okay, so, and I'm going to double check that because when I tell you these numbers, if this is nationally, yikes, this is going to be really, really bad, right? Okay, and the questions are very good for New York, somewhat good for New York, somewhat bad for New York, very bad for New York, not sure. And by the way, as you ask this, I'm going to have to double check whether this was done just for New York City or nationally. No, yeah. A Neapolitan News Service, thanks, by the way, for pointing that out. A Neapolitan News Service national survey. Okay, not New York. Okay, nationally. Again, the numbers are very good for New York, somewhat good for New York, somewhat bad for New York, very bad for New York, or not sure. I'll just say, I'll start off, 10% we're not sure. Okay, so we got 90% to play with. Very good for New York, nationally. Would you like to hazard a guess of what percentage of national voters said Mamdani will be very good for New York? Just hazard a guess.
I can't imagine it would be higher than 30%.
Yeah, okay. 25% nationally said very good. 20% said somewhat good. So 45% said it would be either very good or somewhat good. 13% said somewhat bad. 31% said very bad. That's 44%. So 45% of voters nationally, Tom, said Zoran Mamdani, with all those terrible policies, will be either very good or somewhat good for New York. And only 44% said he would be somewhat bad or very bad for New York. That's kind of a stunning result, it seems to me. Your thoughts on that, Tom Zawistowski?
Well, I think it reflects how the battle lines are really drawn in our society. Because, the fact of the matter is, I mean, even President Trump, with all that he's doing so good, his numbers are close to 50-50 or, 45-40, 55, what have you. And, well, what does that mean? What it means, Michael, is what we were just talking about previously about Obamacare and privatized medicine and stuff. This is a reflection of how badly, quote unquote, Republicans and conservatives have failed the people of this nation. And that is what we have to understand. Next year's election, 2026, which will decide the fate of the nation, because if they take back the House, everything we've worked 16 years for is done because they'll just impeach Trump and stop everything. Here's the bottom line. We've got to start taking care of our people. They've got to start having good jobs, be able to buy a house. Young people have to have hope, and we don't. And so why are they looking for Mamdani? Because he's promising the world, as every commie did from Mao to from Stalin and all of them have done. And it's a lie. But nobody else has given them any other hope. And that's where Donald Trump and the Republicans, and that's why we got to get rid of the filibuster and pass our MAGA agenda and start having real capitalism instead of crony capitalism in our country. That's the bottom line, Michael. And those are true statistics. I believe them, and now we can see what we have to do to win.
Tom, here's the other question and result. Some have suggested that Zohran Mamdani is the future of the Democratic Party. Regardless of your own preferences, who would have a better chance in the next presidential election? A candidate like Mamdani or a more traditional Democrat? 27% say a candidate like Mamdani, 59% a more traditional Democrat, 14% not sure. Now, that's just everybody, right? So what do you think it is among Democrats? I don't have the numbers on it, but that's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that suggests to me that there's going to be a Mamdani-like guy that comes in, and be it AOC or somebody very radical, and would have a chance of winning the Democrat nomination for president. Your thoughts on that, Tom?
Well, let's not forget that Bernie Sanders really won both the 16 and the 20 election for the
Democrat primary.
They just wouldn't let him. They wouldn't let him, right? Commie Bernie did that by using the same tactics. But here's the bottom line is, we're going to decide that. They're not. He's going to implode. His things won't work. 4 years of his policies in New York are going to show some real problems. But if we don't solve the problems, if we don't get the cost of goods down, if we don't, protect the American dream for the American people, yeah, that's what's going to happen, and it'll be our fault.
Well, because we're not making the case. I'm sure. I haven't seen the background on these numbers, but if you were to go and look at, let's say, break up this by age group, of those under the age of 30, my guess is probably significantly more than 45% think that Zohran Mamdani will be either good or very good, somewhat good for New York City. My guess is it's probably over 60%. This is just I'm trying to get Scott Rasmussen on to talk about this. This, though, underscores a problem that I've identified for some time, and I don't see anybody really yet taking the bull by the horns in this instance, and that is the propagandizing of our young children to hate America happening in our public schools and cheered on and supported by public teachers unions. What do you think about that, Tom?
Well, this is what I'm saying. It's up to us. President Trump has taken some action. He's taken a lot of action to fix things, but it's got to be a whole national effort. In our schools, we're responsible for that. When are we going to stop the nonsense? We just had a fight here in Ohio, Michael. Honest to God, the 250th anniversary of our country is coming up. The Republican supermajority in the House Education Committee put forward a bill that the union wanted to take the teaching of American history and the U.S. Constitution out of the curriculum in all Ohio schools.
No.
This month, when we fought it back, Republicans were putting that forward.
So hold it. Where did that bill end up?
They after Chris Long for the Ohio Christian Alliance and Tom Zawistowski for the We the People Convention blew up their frickin' phones. They pulled that out of the bill, and it's now dead. Why did I have to take my time to do that, Michael?
That is fascinating, Tom. Well done. Job well done. Tom Zawistowski, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael. All the best to you. Have a good rest of the week.
Outstanding analysis. Well, more when we get back. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Attorney General Miyares and John Fredericks talk about skill games.
They're unregulated slot machines.
They pop up in 7-Elevens in every corner of Virginia.
The General Assembly has spoken on this.
Skill games.
These things are illegal.
It's the Wild Wild West. Fights break out. Robberies increase.
Skill games.
They prey on the less fortunate.
I say it's a tax on the poor.
They're breaking the law.
My job is to enforce the law. These machines are not allowed.
Enforce the law and get them out of there.
When you see skill games, call the local sheriff.
These things are illegal.
Paid for by Churchill Downs.
Cold weather is here, and it's only getting colder. When you want instant whole room warmth, you go with Eden Pure, a trusted name for years on my show. Now they've done it again with the Eden Pure Gen 40 Plus infrared heater. This powerful compact unit gives you fast, even heat you can feel in seconds. Infrared heat warms you directly, not just the air around you, and it doesn't dry out the air. It's quiet, compact, and safe with multiple built-in safety shutoffs, and it heats up to 1,000 square feet. Perfect for the living room, bedroom, or office. And right now, Eden Pure is thanking our listeners. The Gen 40 Plus normally sells for $224, but Eden Pure is giving our VIP listeners an additional $50 off, bringing it to just $174. That's right, only $174 for state-of-the-art infrared heater. Now, this is a limited time offer with a strict limit of 3, and supplies are moving fast. So go to EdenPureDeals.com, use promo code Godzilla50. EdenPureDeals.com, promo code Godzilla50.
Trump 2.0 is in full effect. How do you keep up with all the action? I'll tell you. TrumpNationNews.com is your inside source for the inside scoop. Manufacturing, jobs, deportations, and the nation's rejuvenation. The first 100 days and beyond. All the news you need and no liberal gibberish. It's the perfect way to start your day. Sign up for the TNN newsletter. Do it today. TrumpNationNews.com. TrumpNationNews.com. Part of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message.
Meet woke liberal Afton Bain.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Afton Bain, so woke, she thinks it's a win to harass police.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Woke liberal Afton Bain. When she wins, we lose.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumberyard for $200 in hidden charges, and DT McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. DT McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. DT McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Got some a breaking story from yesterday. Someone's running for Congress in New York City. And I want to talk about this person. He's going to run for the seat being vacated by Jerry Nadler, who is a classic traditional liberal. I think it's, I don't know if it's Manhattan or Brooklyn, someplace like that. But it's New York City. And it is, well, let's just say this guy will be an absolute total disaster. But he might win for reasons I'm about to tell you. Now, you may know I'm a big fan of genealogy and, I don't know, family heritage. And I'm also, I've got an interesting political background in this regard. So I grew up in upstate New York in a Catholic family. And Catholics in that era, let's say I recall a couple things. We were big fans of the Kennedy family, John F. Kennedy. I recall when John F. Kennedy, I was just a kid, maybe 5 years old, when Kennedy ran against Nixon. And, of course, they had the famous debates where Kennedy narrowly won that race. But he was such an inspiring speaker. Ask not what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. Yes. Well, what's interesting about that, and, of course, Kennedy was tragically assassinated in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963. And I remember growing up and all the terrible sadness involved in his assassination and the idea of basically Kennedy being the leader of Camelot, right? And, of course, so for most of my life as a young man, I was a big fan of John F. Kennedy and the Kennedy family legacy. That's why, as a kid, I wanted to go to Harvard, where he'd gone, and I got accepted. And I was, on my way to being the next John F. Kennedy, I thought. All right. Of course, he came from a family with, a couple $100 million in the bank, maybe more, which I did not. But, over time, my view of the Kennedy family has changed dramatically. And, in fact, there are all sorts of stories and reports about the foibles of John F. Kennedy personally, and who was assassinated in 1963, and then also Robert F. Kennedy, who was assassinated in 1968. There was, for a period of time, a great deal of sympathy for his widow, Jacqueline Kennedy, who later married Aristotle Onassis, and for their children, Caroline Kennedy and John F. Kennedy Jr. John F. Kennedy Jr., of course, died in that plane crash, which a lot of folks have called, he went out at night and didn't have instruments and had a cast on his leg. And a lot of people considered that to be a reckless thing to do. And he died tragically. But he was very, a good-looking guy and had this George magazine. And the assumption was that someday he'd run for president. That's the idea. Well, Caroline Kennedy ended up marrying a guy by the name of Schlossberg, who's kind of like an artist type guy, and involved in museums. Caroline Kennedy herself considered the possibility of running for a Senate in New York, but was kind of a bad candidate and chose wisely not to run. She later became ambassador to Japan under Obama, ambassador to Australia under Biden. But I wouldn't call her really the shining light of her father. And in fact, not at all. And the only Kennedy now who is politically, I would say I'm aligned with, is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., right, who's now the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and who, by the way, His family just despises him because he's aligned with Donald Trump. This is a long way to get to the story, which is this. So Caroline Kennedy and her husband have a son named Jack Schlossberg. Jack Schlossberg, I think he went to Harvard Law School, but he's not done much of anything, except he's a little bit kooky. And he's spent a lot of time posting weird far-left videos. And now this guy has decided, he lives in New York City, he's decided he's going to run for Congress. I haven't seen this clip yet. I doubt this is going to be one of his kooky clips, but let's play it right now. I think this guy is on the edge of sanity and kind of a leftist influence. I don't know. He's certainly not the legacy of the inspiration that his grandfather, John F. Kennedy, is. But let's play this clip right now of Jack Schlossberg, grandson of John F. Kennedy.
Now to breaking news. JFK's grandson has announced a congressional bid. Jack Schlossberg says he's launching a campaign to replace retiring Congressman Jerry Nadler. Aziza Schuler joins us live from the Upper West Side for the latest on the race for the 12th Congressional District. Aziza.
Good morning, Mary. Well, the 32-year-old Democrat and youngest child of Caroline Kennedy called this district his hometown. In an email to supporters, Jack Schlossberg said that his campaign officially launches today. He posted a video on his Instagram account late last night saying the country is at a turning point and facing a crisis at every level. He pointed out that the rising cost of living, as well as what he says is government corruption under the President Donald Trump's administration. Schlossberg said Democrats must win back control of Congress and promised to fight for working families in New York's 12th district, which stretches from Union Square to the Upper West and East Sides.
I'm not running because I have all the answers to our problems. I'm running because the people of New York 12 do. I want to listen to your struggles, hear your stories, amplify your voice, go to Washington, and execute on your behalf. There is nowhere I'd rather be than in the arena fighting for my hometown.
Well, Schlossberg built a large social media following for his outspoken videos on national issues, often taking aim at his cousin, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The race for the House seat is shaping up to be crowded with former Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, Parkland school shooting survivor Cameron Kasky, Assembly members Micah Lasher, Alex Borez, and Tony Simone, as well as City Council member Eric Botcher among the contenders. Now, Congressmember Nadler, who is serving his 17th term in office, announced that he will not be running for a re-election and said that perhaps it's time for a young lawmaker to come in and do a better job in office.
All right, so that's the New York City local news reporting on it. Schlossberg, that was a very tame version of Schlossberg, who really, I mean, we'll get throughout the next month or so, we'll play some of his insane rants. And, it's just bad form to publicly go after your cousin, but that's what he's done and vilified him, really. But, look, you would think with the name recognition and the social media following of crazy leftists, he might have a chance. The reality, politically, that's what I'm saying, on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Now, let's talk about what the big issue is going to be right now. It's going to be, and I want to talk about this, Obamacare is a complete and total utter disaster. It is responsible for the rising of healthcare costs of average Americans. We had a healthcare executive on the Will Cain show, or healthcare expert, explain why yesterday. Clip 3.
Tell me what went wrong with Obamacare.
Well, Will, it's great to be with you. And the bottom line is it's the regulations. Obamacare created a nationwide, one-size-fits-all set of regulations for that kind of insurance that you were mentioning, that people buy on their own, outside of their employer, outside of the government. And the two things that Obamacare did that broke the insurance market were, one, it overcharged healthy people that needed insurance to help fund the cost of insurance for sick people, and overcharged young people to help fund the cost of insurance for sick people. So young people paid double, triple, quadruple what they were paying before, and healthy people paid double, triple, quadruple what they paid before. And so those are the people who were particularly harmed by Obamacare, who dropped out of the market, who can't find affordable coverage unless they get those subsidies. And the end result is, if only sicker and older people buy insurance, the price of insurance for everybody goes through the roof.
Yeah. Now, Tim Burchett, congressman from the 2nd District of East Tennessee, was on CNN. He goes on, goes into the belly of the beast and takes him on. Here he is talking about health care. Clip number 10, Tim Burchett.
It seems kind of crazy, but in the future, maybe we ought to bring the patients and the doctors to the table and tell the insurance companies they can go take a flying leap because they've screwed this program up by their greed and the politicians' greed who are getting funded in their campaigns by them. That's what needs to happen, ma'am. And we've got plans out there that'll work, I believe, if we could just get them to the table. I think we've had enough hearings. I think we need to just start bringing stuff to the table and start voting on it. That's what America elected us to do. And I think both parties would have to suck it up a little bit. I think it's right. Everybody talks real tough on this issue, ma'am, but nobody wants to do anything about it. In reality, the leadership's afraid of it. They want to kick that can down the road, but the American public is suffering in both parties. Poor folks, black folks, white folks, everybody's suffering under this system, and we can do a whole lot better.
Yeah, you see the CNN anchor there? Trying to shut him up? No, come on. No. You can't say that. Well, it's true. I mean, the free market needs to work here. Who are the beneficiaries of this? Well, the beneficiaries of Obamacare, let's be honest, are health insurance companies and politicians who get big donations from health insurance companies. That's not just Democrats, although it is mainly Democrats. There are a number of Republicans who have benefited from it as well. And so we're going to see, by the way, today, if you turn on C-SPAN, you're in the procedural votes leading up to the final vote on this, you're going to see a lot of pontificating from Democrats along these lines. They're going to be saying, oh, you mean Republicans, you're not going to give all this money to insurance companies so that, poor people can get health insurance. That's not the right answer. A free market answer is the right answer. Tim Burchett is absolutely spot on. When we come back, Scott Jennings taking it to CNN yet again. Back after this.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
Let's be real. Losing weight isn't just about looking good. It's about taking back control of your overall health. 42% of adults in America are classified as obese, and obesity is directly linked to severe health issues. If you've tried diets and different workouts with no success, it's not your fault. Big Food and Big Pharma have rigged the system against you with contradicting information, leaving you confused. But there's good news. The Wellness Company just launched Drop, a GLP-1 peptide oral drop formula developed by their chief medical board, specifically designed to support your metabolism, curb cravings, and help you shed weight. That's right. No injections, no risk of the severe side effects we're seeing with the Ozempic. Start your weight loss journey today and get $100 off, plus free shipping. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and use promo code Godzilla100. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla100. Take action today for a healthier tomorrow.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. I'm going to call the House of Representatives into order now. Resolved. Scott Jennings is a national treasure. Vote on it now. Yes. The majority votes yes. Also, an amendment to that resolution. It is Scott Jennings who is keeping the ratings of CNN up. Well, why? Because the only conservatives who watch CNN are those who know that Scott Jennings is going to be on, and he's going to take it to a liberal. One of the liberals is the 25-year-old son of the actor Michael Douglas. He's here in one of these clips. We'll put a whole bunch of these clips together. Let's start off with Scott Jennings talking common sense on CNN. Here, clip 6.
Do you believe as a member of Congress, a judge can compel the executive to spend money that you haven't appropriated?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
Yes, I do.
Really?
Hey, pause this just a moment. Okay, so this is James Clymer. He is the powerful committee chairman from South Carolina. He's the guy in 2020, when Joe Biden was floundering, he's the guy who cut the deal that basically gave South Carolina to Joe Biden. That question gets to the core of the matter, because what that Congressman Clymer is saying is he does not believe in the separation of powers doctrine of the Constitution, right? Because a federal judge, this was a snap thing, a federal judge in Rhode Island, Obama appointed, had ruled, well, the president's going to have to pay SNAP benefits during the shutdown. Well, the president cannot spend any money that's not been appropriated by Congress. That money had not been appropriated by Congress, and yet a federal judge forced him to do it. This is why Jennings is so incredulous when a leading Democratic member of Congress basically rejected the separation of powers. Let's keep rolling.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought we didn't want kings.
Nobody
Maybe we
wants
need
kings.
king for a day. What do we need? I mean, that is
Judge-
literally a king, spending money that is not
The
appropriated.
judge is not a king. The
No, you're
judge-
turning the president into one if he
I don't
can
know.
spend without appropriation.
Well, now,
Look, you guys have been railing against Trump being authoritarian, having too much power, too much executive power, And at the same time, Democrats have been arguing that he should go out and spend money that has not been appropriated this year by Congress. I just shows a huge flaw in
It had not been appropriated. The reason it hadn't, I mean, because of the dadgum shutdown, which still, by the way, exists. All right, there he's taking it to James Clyburn, who really, if you think somebody ought to retire, that guy ought to retire. But he still has a lot of power. Okay, let's go. This is, I think, clip 14. This is where he takes it to the young, privileged son of the actor Michael Douglas.
One thing that came out of this entire fight is that the healthcare system in this country has been, Obamacare, has been exposed as a complete and utter failure. We all know it now. Everybody admits it. The other thing that came out is that Democrats are willing to make people suffer. And you heard Democrat after Democrat today say, well, we just couldn't prolong the suffering. So they admit that their political tactics were designed to inflict suffering on the American people. We also learned about cynical politics in this. But the overall issue of health care is going to have to be dealt with because the system has failed. Everyone, I think it's bipartisan now, admits it. But I'm not sure that having Mike Johnson commit to giving billions of dollars to insurance companies for insurance that's not getting any better, it feels like it's getting worse to the American people, is going to make a difference. I could see Democrats and Republicans coming together to discuss that, like if we're going to spend this amount of money, should we be just giving it to insurance companies or should we be doing something else with it that would actually have a chance of making it feel like you could get seen by a doctor and get a better health outcome? But what we're doing now, writing checks to health insurance companies, is not getting us any better outcomes at all.
Yeah, actually, there was another clip where the young guy, if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble or where else, Roku, where other platforms we have, you saw the young kid there looking about to try and say something. That was the son of Michael Douglas, who's obviously on the left side. You know, it's interesting when you look at those clips from CNN. That was an extended conversation, extended statement by Scott Jennings. I can tell you exactly what's going on behind the scenes. The producers at CNN, although they may be lefty, are not stupid. They know that the only way that they're going to keep ratings up is to give Scott Jennings a platform. And so you have the camera panning back and forth between all the liberals waiting to pounce on him. But they've gotten the word. If Scott Jennings is saying something, you've got to let him finish his thought. That's really, and I think Scott Jennings may be the only guy on CNN that they allow that to happen to because he's a proven ratings winner. So there we go. Hey, I'm looking out of the studio window right now, and I'm seeing, is it? It is. Marine Force One. I'm looking at the windows now. Who's looking out the window? Well, there's one. One is the president. Who's the other guy there with his baseball cap on backwards? That would be Sean Farash. So now coming into the studio, well, just starting to land right now is President Trump and Sean Farash. When we come back, it will be it's Trump Day, and it will be Sean Farash. And in the first segment, it'll be President Trump. Back after this.
Let's face it, losing weight isn't just about looks. It's about taking back control of your health. Tired of confusing diets and injections with harsh side effects? Meet Drop, an oral GLP-1 peptide from the Wellness Company that boosts metabolism, curbs cravings, and helps you burn fat. No needles needed. Just mix it with water and let your body do the rest. Right now, get $100 off and free shipping at twc.health/Godzilla and use the promo code Godzilla100 to save $100. Drop the weight. Take back your life.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio.
This is WJ.
Show. I don't mess around when it comes to saving you money. Right now, rates have dropped to the lowest level in over a year and a half. That means if you bought your home or refinanced in the last 3 years, you could be saving hundreds of dollars every month. Lower your rate, lower your monthly payment, even kick that pesky PMI to the curb. And get this, you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. But that's not all. Fellowship Home Loans just rolled out something incredible. Their very own HELOC and lines of credit. Approval in just 5 minutes. Money in your account in as little as 4 days. It's the easiest system you've ever used. You can do it yourself online. Whether you want to pay off bills, tackle a home project, cover education, or even a wedding, Fellowship Home Loans makes it simple to leverage the money that's already sitting in your house. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending guided by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Here's Rich Thomason with a midday Wall Street Business Report.
Wall Street opened with gains this morning as an end to the U.S. government shutdown appears closer, while tech stocks regain their footing after swinging wildly in recent days. Advanced Micro Devices rose 5% overnight after the chip maker forecast enormous revenue growth in its data center business due to AI demand. The Congressional Budget Office estimates a 6-week shutdown will reduce growth in this year's fourth quarter by about 1.5%. Additionally, the government shutdown cut off the flow of economic data on unemployment, inflation, and retail spending that the Federal Reserve depends upon. That could mean that the Federal Reserve will not deliver another interest rate cut at next month's meeting. That's something that was widely expected before the shutdown set in. I'm Rich Thomason.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. A crisis at chipmaker Nexperia said automakers scrambling.
A power struggle over Nexperia, a Chinese-owned Dutch semiconductor maker, is impacting global auto production. The Dutch government has taken control of Nexperia, citing national security concerns. The move highlights vulnerabilities in the technology supply chain affecting automakers like Honda, which halted production at a Mexican factory. The dispute is part of a broader U.S.-China tech rivalry, with Europe caught in the middle. Nexperia's chips are crucial for the auto industry, and finding replacements is challenging. Keith Peters, Washington.
AI infrastructure giant CoreWeave reports surging revenue and backlog of $55.6 billion, but revises its full-year guidance downward, sparking concerns about delays in data center projects. Investors are watching whether that signals a broader strain on the AI aspect. More on these stories at Town.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Well, the helicopter, Marine Force One, is still, I think it's still out there, and they are walking now. President Trump coming in the building from the helicopter, along with Sean Farash. Welcome, President Trump. Thank you for joining us again today on Trump Day.
It's Trump Day. We're very happy to be here. Very happy about it. You know, it's a tremendous place.
Mr. President, one of your biggest supporters is Joe Carr, the mayor of Rutherford County. We have this breaking story about Joe, and you know, Sean was just there on Monday at an event called T-Bones Politics. Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr is currently hospitalized at the Vanderbilt Trauma Center in Nashville, Tennessee, due to injuries sustained while training horses with his son at his farm in Las Casas yesterday afternoon. He was transported by Rutherford County Emergency Medical Service. He's undergoing evaluation and receiving treatment for 9 broken ribs, a lacerated liver, and a semi-collapsed lung. But Joe had this statement, quote, "This is the first time I've spent the night in the hospital in 65 years. I'm glad it was from doing something I love. Rutherford County Emergency Medical Service and the medical teams have been awesome. Both horses are fine." Mr. President, do you have a message for Joe Carr?
Well, we want you to get well soon because the county needs you. Because you're doing a great job, especially with, you're doing a great job with the landfill, even though the commission, they did a little censure job a couple of years ago. But that was a witch hunt. We know that was a witch hunt. And I've been impeached more than you've been censored, so you got some catching up to do. But we want you to get out and get well soon and get back bigger, better, and faster and stronger than ever. That much I can tell you.
Mr. President, Joe held a big event on Monday in Murfreesboro, T-Bones and Politics. We've been advertising it here for some time. And a big crowd of about 1,000 people there. Now, Senator Marsha Blackburn was supposed to be a headliner, but she was otherwise occupied Monday night. She was in the Senate voting to pass the continuing resolution.
Well, she voted well, and she passed it well, and she was doing a good job. She didn't have to be there. She should have been there, but they should have ended it 2 weeks ago. But crying Chuck Schumer told them no, and then he got nothing but a sombrero. We're going to send him a golden sombrero. I think it's a tremendous thing to do because you look at crying Chuck. He's a stupid guy, and he doesn't make deals like he used to make deals. He doesn't make deals anymore. We didn't want to make a deal with him, so
I
we
think
gave him nothing.
He was
except
born
the sombrero.
He was born Jewish, but I think he's changed nationality.
He's a Palestinian now. He loves Palestine. It's not a real place, but he loves Palestine. He likes Hogwarts too, which is also a fake place. But he's a stupid person, and the Democrats are not very happy with him. So he ought to watch his step. That's all I'm going to tell you. On the left, you better watch your step.
So sometime, could be momentarily, in the U.S. House of Representatives, this bill will come for a vote. And, of course, the Democrats, are going crazy over it. They want to extend the failed Obamacare tax credits, not for 1 year, but for 3 years now, said Hakeem Jeffries. Meanwhile, a Mamdani-like socialist leftist who's, I guess he's not a Muslim, he's a Hindu, is going to challenge Jeffries in the primary. Is he going to survive, Jeffries?
I think he's going to do fine. You look at him; he's peso store Obama. I think he's going to do fine, unless he steps out of line. And Mamdani, you look at Mamdani. If he backs the challenger, then Hakeem may have some problems. But I don't think he's going to back the challenge. I think they work well together. Even though Hakeem is very stupid, you look at Mamdani. We call him Zoran the moron because he has bad ideas, but he's not a stupid person. I think he's a very smart person, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and basically he wants to.
But he eats with his hands, which is not a very safe thing to do.
He kind of wants to destroy the United States of America, right? But he in that regard, he's not very smart, but he is clever, and he knows how to manipulate the press. It seems to me
he does as well a job at that as Nancy Pelosi. We call her Nancy. Right? We call her Nancy Pelosi. She can't keep her teeth in her mouth. I call her a spitter. She's a spitter. You have to put your windshield wipers on when you have a conversation with Nancy Pelosi. She really does a terrible job, but she does very well with the press, too. And he does well with the press. And he's not a spitter, but she is. But he might be at some point. Who knows? They have a lot of similarities. That could be one.
Mr. President, very narrow margin in the House. You can only afford to lose 2 votes, right? Thomas Massie has been a thorn in the side of the Republicans for some time. He's a Republican from
so they say.
Yeah.
So they say.
He's more of a libertarian. He by the way, did you see he just got married to a young girl?
Very interesting. Not even a year after the wife died. It's very interesting. There's a lot of questions about it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows people's personal lives, but that seems to be pretty quick.
A lot of questions about it. We don't want to get too much, but a lot of questions about it.
Now, if this passes, which I think it will, even if Massie, votes with Rand Paul and votes against it, you can afford to lose Massie. You can't afford to lose a second voter on the Republican side. Will you kind of get in Marine Force One immediately after this show and head back to Washington in anticipation of signing the bill that ends the shutdown?
Well, if I was crooked Joe Biden, they could just give it to the auto pen. I wouldn't even have to be there. But we want to sign it. We're going to sign it, and we're going to get funding through January 30th, and we're going to do it all over again. It's going to be so great. Now, we don't want to have that happen, but you look at it, we're going to try and sign it as soon as possible and get people back to work. We want them back to work, especially air traffic control. They have to
need them back.
Steer those planes. You got to get those planes away from each other. We want it to be safe.
Last night, you had an interview with Laura Ingraham, and you kind of gave her a tour of the White House in a way that a builder would give a tour of the White House. You pointed out that you had asked the guys who rebuilt the Palm Room to put in bookmarked air conditioning vents, and I guess you're the only one who really knows how to do that properly.
Well, I build everything. I've built a lot of incredible buildings with my own 2 hands, including the pyramids of Egypt. You look at Giza. We did very well with Giza. The Sphinx was my idea. I said to the Pharaoh, Pharaoh, we have to build a beautiful sand castle that looks like a cat. He said, sir, why would we do that? I said, people are going to talk about it for a long time. We're still talking about it. So King Tut, I got along very well. They called him King Tut. I call him King Tut. I said, you don't need to be King Tut. If you're King Tut, you're going to have a lot of problems. People are going to make fun of you. They changed it to Tut. It sounds strong. It sounds tough. The boy king, but he was a great god, great king. They revered him like a god, but he was a great king. But we built a lot of things together. Ramses, we built a lot of things together. And I've built a lot. You look at Rome, the Colosseum. You look at the Leaning Tower. It was of Pisa, Then Chris Christie ran into it and forced it over. It's the Leaning Tower of Pizza. Think about it. But I've built a lot of beautiful structures, and the White House is among those. They're great. It's a great structure.
You're fixing
Great
the ballroom now. You're making it the most beautiful ballroom.
The biggest, it's a throne room. It's called King Donald's Royal Court. That's what it's going to be called. Featuring jesters, Hakeem Jeffries, and Chuck Schumer.
Now,
They're the
I understand that you want the new stadium for the Washington, well, they used to be the Redskins. Now there's something else. NFL team. You want that stadium named for yourself. Is that right?
Well, it's going to be called Chief Golden Eagle Stadium, right? Because I'm Chief Golden Eagle, and they will be the Redskins again. They'll be the Redskins, the reddest skin in the history of the world. Everybody loves it.
I think Marine Force One is warming up, and I think there it is. It's ready to take you back to Washington and hopefully sign that bill tonight, ending the shutdown. Mr. President, thanks for joining us today on Trump Day.
Thank you for having me again. You're a tremendous person.
Up next, Sean Farash. We're going to talk some sports with Sean for a bit. Back after this.
Hi folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just one scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
I didn't risk my life for this country just to watch career politicians wreck it.
Matt Van Epps, 9 combat tours. True American hero.
Now, I'm on a new mission to bring down prices, create good-paying jobs, and lower healthcare costs for working families. I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message to fight for America. because that's what I've done my whole life.
Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, the very best Trump impersonator in the world, Sean Farash. Sean, we're going to talk about sports. But before we do, I hear you were a big hit at the T-Bones Politics dinner in Murfreesboro on Monday night.
It was a lot of fun.
Big crowd?
It was a huge crowd. We had a lot of fun. Congressman Burchett was there. He's always hysterical.
He's fun.
He's a fun guy. And Glenn Jacobs, formerly known as
Glenn
Kane.
was there, yeah.
Yeah, so I made a joke about him throwing Adam Schiff through a table, which was well received.
Of course.
No,
I like that.
I made a joke about, Tim Burchett's a big Bigfoot, Sasquatch, UFOs.
Yes.
He's into all that lore. So I said, we found Sasquatch. It's Letitia James. And he had to... Brennan, whose birthday is today, by the way.
Happy birthday, Brennan.
It's her birthday today. We're very excited. We got an ice cream maker. So
congratulations.
But she said she saw Tim when I made the Sasquatch joke, had to kind of turn away and contain himself because, it's kind of a little off color, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to laugh.
So we were talking through the break that a lot of times news is it just gets to be a bit much.
It's like taking a club to the face every day.
Yeah, for instance, because we won't get into this, but as an example, a poll just came out from Scott Rasmussen's new group, Neapolitan News Service, which said, a nationwide poll, which said that 45% of Americans surveyed said that Zohran Mamdani will be either good, very good, or somewhat good for New York. And only 45% said he would be very bad or somewhat bad.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
At all. But because you and I have agreed that we're a little tired today of all the news, we're going to talk sports for the rest of the session.
Sign me up.
Okay, so
sign me up.
So here's the deal.
Let's go Islanders.
You're a New York guy, right?
Yeah.
And you like the Jets. Jets is your team.
Yeah.
We'll talk about them in a bit. But right now, let's talk about the New York Giants.
Okay.
The New York Football Giants.
Steve Summers, WFAN.
So he, the head coach of the New York Giants was a fellow by the name of Brian Daboll, who had done very well as the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. And he also was the coach of the year in his first year with the Giants. He was like 9-7.
Yeah, he had a good first season.
He had a good first season. But he had Saquon Barkley that year, right?
And Daniel Jones, and who knew he was going to wind up being a stud in Indianapolis?
So
Daniel
far, so
Jones.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, real good.
Yeah. But this has not been a good year for the Giants.
No.
His first year was good, but his second and third and fourth years have not been good.
No. They had some excitement this year, though, with Scadaboo.
And then Scadaboo was injured.
But then he gets hurt, and that was basically the only reason people were watching the team, was because of Scat.
And then Jackson Dart replaced Russell Wilson as quarterback. And he's a good quarterback, asterisk. He gets hurt a lot.
Yeah, and he's a rookie. But he's brittle.
And he had a concussion, and he's out, right? He's out. So that's not going to work.
No.
So they fired Brian Daboll.
You're not producing results. New York is a "what have you done for me lately" kind of town too.
It's always been that way.
You could coach the Mets or the Yankees to a World Series, but if the game one of the next season you make a mistake in the ninth inning, they'll be calling for your head.
You're gone.
They'll be calling for your head.
Kind of the
I avoided that because I'd never rooted for a team that has won a championship aside from the 48 team of Jimmy Johnson in NASCAR back when he was racing. They won 7, which was cool. And the 2023 Texas Rangers. They won a World Series. That's my baseball team. And the following year, we had a rough year, and people were like, "Fire Bochy." I was like, "You're acting like a bunch of New York sports fans. Stop it." Okay, like show some respect.
So there's some speculation on who might be the next coach, and there are a number of names, but in the mix is Bill Belichick.
Of course. I wonder if he'll apply for the job on a napkin. Because the last time he moved on from East Rutherford, New Jersey, which is where the Jets and Giants play, he resigned on a napkin.
So the deal is...
You know what? I really don't care.
Yeah.
He's not in my conference. Like, if it turns into the Patriots again, and that's he turns the Giants around, that's the Eagles, the Redskins, and the Cowboys' problem. They got to worry about. And I don't call them the Commanders. I call them the Redskins.
Yeah,
I don't
they
care.
are.
I don't. Well, you have a problem with it. I really don't care about that either, because they're the Redskins, right? That's what they are.
Now,
They're gonna make them the Redskins again.
So he
and named the stadium after me.
Belichick shocked his last couple years with the Patriots weren't great.
No,
but Brady left, and the guy that immediately succeeded him didn't do well.
Jared Mayo.
Yeah.
Awful. Well, now they got Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel.
Good job, Tennessee. Thanks for that.
Vrabel has won 8 games so far in half a year.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans, in the year and a half since he was fired, have only won 4 games.
Unbelievable. That's a Jet stat. That is a Jet stat.
So,
unbelievable.
So, basically, Belichick got fired at the Patriots.
All right.
Contract not renewed. You call it whatever you want.
Mutual parting of ways.
He spent a year kind of dabbling in media, and then he surprises everybody by taking the North Carolina head.
It makes no sense to me.
I don't think it makes sense either.
Makes no sense to me.
Why? Who knows? The beginning of it was a disaster.
Yeah.
They were 2-5, and he brought his 26-year-old.
Yeah, she's on the sideline with him.
25-year-old on the sideline. I mean, just.
It's totally like
it's
antithetical to what Belichick. It almost makes me feel like we go down a rabbit hole and is he being blackmailed? Because this is totally out of character.
It's anti-character. It's against character.
There was no distraction. He traded away Antonio Brown, who recently just got indicted, I think, in
for attempted murder.
Attempted murder.
Yeah.
Right, but he traded away Antonio Brown and some of these bad apples on New England. It's what are they doing?
And then he's behaving weirdly.
Now he's behaving very strange.
Now I will say about his team, they were 2-3.
Right.
They lost the next 2 games very narrowly.
Right.
Like 3 points. And then he's won 2 in a row. He's 4-5 right now. On the prediction markets, now there's an 8% chance that Bill Belichick will be the next coach of the New York Football Giants. Now, he was the defensive coordinator when they won the 2 Super Bowls.
With Parcells.
Yeah.
He was Jets defensive coordinator too with Parcells.
Yeah. So he wants to be, I think, he would love to be the head coach of the New York Giants.
He's always wanted that job.
I think he's always wanted it.
He wanted that job. And I think if they offer him that job, he takes it. But what is he going to do with the wacko that he's dating?
I think
because I could tell you, Mara and Tish ain't going to want her on the sideline. That's not going to happen. I don't even think she can be on the sideline in the NFL.
I'm hoping she can't. But she would probably do better in New York City than she's doing in Chapel Hill.
Probably, but I think she might be a distraction.
Well, of course. If you're a 74-year-old guy and you got a 25-year-old girlfriend,
the locker room's going to really let him have it over that.
Yeah, I mean that is just weird.
Yeah,
Bill, what are you thinking, buddy?
I don't know.
Okay.
We're on to Cincinnati, is what he says. We're on to Cincinnati.
Now he was asked. He was asked about the New York Giants opening. He said, "Well, I'm focused on Wake Forest." But the way he answered that, it sounded to me like, "Make me an offer, New York." That's what it sounded like to me.
Make me an offer, and we'll see what we can do about the rest.
I don't think North Carolina will be unhappy.
I don't think so either. Why would they want that there? I mean, he's not producing any prolific results right now.
4-5.
And it's bad PR with the girlfriend.
Oh, terrible PR.
So I think UNC would probably be like, yeah, you can go. It's fine. See ya.
Yeah, he's got to pay him like $1 million. But I think it would be good for the New York Giants if they hired him.
If he keeps her in check.
Yeah, well.
She was not there in New England.
I understand.
So I'm looking at it going, all right, you know what? Because now Belichick never had baggage. Now he does.
Yeah.
So
his 26-year-old girlfriend.
Baggage Belichick.
So what do you think? Do you think the Giants will? I don't think they're going to offer him, but I think it would be a good story turn.
It would be a good story turn. It would excite the fan base.
It would excite the fan base.
We don't know what he is without Brady, right?
Well,
it
wasn't a success in New England without Brady.
In every other, when he was with the Browns, when he was in New England without Brady, UNC doesn't look like the same team.
He was kind of okay in the Browns. Saban was his defensive coordinator.
Was
in
he?
the Browns.
I didn't know.
They're
Saban
close
was
friends.
the Belichick.
Okay. So let's do a little phone call. I'll be Bill.
Okay.
You be Nick.
Nick Saban?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Nick, what do you think? I kind of would like to get this New York Giants job. What should I do, Nick?
We're on to LSU. Wait, wrong character. Nick Saban. No, I don't know. I mean, go for it. I would say Roll Tide. I don't know.
Wait,
I don't really know Nick Saban's personality too well.
There is none.
There's none. He's just sandpaper.
It's like,
oh, that's why there's that commercial. I heard a commercial where Saban is like it's an Airbnb commercial.
Yeah.
And he's like, the rules are no fun, none of this, none of that. I'm surprised Saban wasn't a better NFL coach. With the Dolphins for a minute. Bad though. They weren't very
good.
No.
They were middle of the road.
Right.
Look, it seems like being a college coach is different than being an NFL
kids,
coach.
like,
Yeah, because you're working with kids.
Young, very young.
And now you throw all the NIL in.
Right.
Oh, it's crazy. By the way, Diego Pavia, great quarterback. Do you see the story? He went down to Miami and was partying with Johnny Manziel and some Diego.
That's a name I have not heard in a long
Diego,
time. Manziel.
Here's some advice. Don't party with Johnny Manziel.
No.
Nothing good happens.
No.
Speaking of nothing good, now we're going to mix politics, the law, and sports.
You said nothing good. Okay, well.
Gambling.
What's nice is that you didn't say the Jets.
Back with the big gambling issue with our good friend Sean Frosh after this.
EJ Haast here, founder of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere: Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at GlockStore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at GlockStore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at DT McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. DT McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message.
Meet woke liberal Afton Bain.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is like
This is a win.
Afton Bain, so woke, she thinks it's a win to harass police.
This is great. We've got our girl squad and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Woke liberal Afton Bain. When she wins, we lose.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Sean Farash is here with us on Trump Day. Every Wednesday, Sean is in studio with us. The very best, let me emphasize, very best Trump impersonator in the world. If you see somebody else trying to do it, they are a pale imitation of Sean.
They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
They really
believe
have
it
to
or
be.
not.
Sean, I promised we'll talk about the intersection of politics, the law, and sports. And it has to do with sports betting. Now, it wasn't until, maybe 10 years ago? Maybe even a little less than that, where online sports betting was allowed around the country.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got giant companies that do that. FanDuel is the biggest.
Sportsbook.
That's
where you can basically bet the games. The FanDuel, Prize Picks, DraftKings, all of them. That's
DraftKings.
Daily fantasy. Yeah.
And
so much money.
It's a huge industry. There has been, of course, a long-standing interest in America in gambling. It's part of the American heritage, if you will. Now, I don't know about you, Sean, but I never gamble on anything. It just seems like silly. Well, do you gamble at all?
No. I just, I get it. There's like a rush, to have some skin in the game and stuff. But I just feel like you work so hard to keep so little of your money. Why risk it?
Yeah, risk it on a chance.
I'll do some. Okay, so I'll do some fast-paced at times crypto type trading or day trading, which is sort of gambling because it's
it's the stock market though. So
but it's not gambling on a sport. I'm not trading sugar honey iced tea coins on Solana. You know what I mean? We're bouncing between different stables and different assets on Ethereum blockchain. So that's a little different to me. And there's risk involved in that too, don't get me wrong. But to me, gambling on sports, just being that, because then don't let me catch you complaining that you don't have food. Right? Don't let me catch you complaining that your rent is too expensive if you're gambling on sports. Right? Come on.
Gambling mixed with sports can threaten the integrity of the game.
Absolutely. Well, 1919.
1919 and the 1919 World Series, the Chicago White Sox.
I got along well with Shoeless Joe. He's a lot better than Clueless Joe, who was our last president.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting about that is the Cincinnati Reds won that World Series, even though the White Sox were favored, and a gambling expert, Arnold Rothstein, part of the mob, basically bribed a number of Chicago White Sox to throw the series. And Shoeless Joe Jackson was a part of that crowd, allegedly. He was paid money. He apparently took money, but he didn't throw the game because he hit like 350 in the World Series.
He had a great World Series.
But nonetheless, he took the money, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
They were tried. There's a famous movie, 8 Men Out, about their trial. They were not convicted. They probably should have been. But they weren't convicted. And then the Major League Baseball commissioner, Judge Mountain Kennesaw Landis, threw him out, banned him for life because it threatened the integrity of the game. Well, it did, really. And there's all this stories about, Shoeless Joe wanted to play until, when he was an old man and how unfair it was to him. But he took the money, according to some reports.
Right.
Now, and then Pete Rose banned, lifetime ban for gambling on baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But this was before FanDuel. So now
Right.
FanDuel comes in. Oh, my goodness. So the first thing is the Department of Justice indicts in the NBA a current player for the
Terry
Miami Heat.
Rozier. Yeah.
The head coach of the Portland Trailblazers,
Mm-hmm.
Chauncey Billups, and then a former player. Part of it had to do with not sports gambling per se, but kind of crooked poker games that were involved in. But some of it had to do with basically, Rozier not playing in a game or leaving early.
It's interesting, too, because who's the head coach of the Miami Heat? Eric Spoelstra, right? Didn't his house just burn down?
I didn't know that.
Oh. Yeah.
That is interesting. Now,
and this is, I don't like conspiracy theories.
No,
but when you talk about the mob
and
then the
gambling,
huge ring, and then someone's house burns down, I start to feel like I'm watching an episode of The Sopranos.
And now, then in Major League Baseball, 2 pitchers for the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
Notice the Cleveland Indians.
Indians.
Yeah, they changed their name to the Guardians. What
Nah.
a stupid name.
Stupid.
Which is stupider?
Change it back.
Which is stupider? The
Guardians for sure.
Yeah.
Stupider. Yeah.
Yeah, stupider than the Commanders. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both pretty stupid.
They're dumb.
But the
at
Guardians,
least the commander-in-chief lives in D.C. You know, so you named it after the president. That's nice. The Guardians.
What are they guarding?
Nothing.
Who are they guarding?
Well,
They're apparently not guarding the integrity of the game.
No.
And the whole thing, the indictment, and if you look at it, I mean, when the Department of Justice indicts you, they usually have their ducks in order, and it's a tough case. Now, they've been indicted, they haven't been tried. Everybody is presumed innocent, but what they're saying is, and this, it's not like what they were doing is they were intentionally throwing pitches in the dirt.
Right.
People apparently can bet on a...
Yeah, because of prop bets, and this is what's ridiculous, right? So, former Texas Rangers farmhand Emmanuel Clase, he's the closer, lights out closer for Cleveland.
Makes $4 million a year, right?
Guy is unbelievably talented. You have been given an unreal gift, and you're getting paid because you've
$4 million a year.
You've $4 million a year, and the reason why these contracts are so big is to make these guys uncorruptible, right? It's like nobody would ever throw a game because they're making more playing the game, but they, in the mind of a criminal, they don't think they're getting caught.
Alleged criminal.
Right.
Alleged.
All
this is alleged.
Alleged, right? So in the mind of somebody plotting a crime, they're not saying, they're trying to figure out all the reasons why they're not going to get caught. So in the minds of these athletes, well, there's prop bets. I could just bet on myself, or somebody else can bet on me. I can control when I throw that pitch in the dirt, and then I get a little kickback on top of my $4 million.
So
why do you need more money?
The allegation
it's terrible.
If he threw a pitch in the dirt at a certain time in the game.
And that's directly in his control. And then you look at that and say, all right, well, if it's the first pitch of an at-bat, fine, he starts off 1-0. He'll get back in the it doesn't even really hurt him, but you never really know. But a pitch in the dirt at a specific time in the game is something that a player can
and guys
control.
bet on this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's called a prop bet.
Yeah. So it's like they're
they're
betting on something happening in the game.
You could bet that this pitcher is going to throw a pitch in the dirt.
Yep. First pitch of the inning, pitch in the dirt. What are the odds? Bet.
Boom. And apparently they have, and a pitcher trying his best will occasionally throw a pitch in the dirt.
All the time it happens. Yeah.
But they've apparently got in the evidence this guy specifically throwing pitches in the dirt. And apparently part of the evidence is he wasn't thinking a lot because every major league game is videotaped.
And not just videotaped.
I mean, there's a record.
It is analyzed. And there's all these different splits and stats that they do with all the StatCast era.
The stat guys analyze everything.
Everything you do on a baseball field is logged.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're might as well be attached to like all sorts of equipment that's monitoring your heart rate. There are stats are like, what is Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s batting average on a Tuesday night with the lights on and the roof open at a relative humidity of 63%? You know what I mean? Like, there are stats that are that specific. So everything you're doing on that field is logged.
Sean, this gives new meaning to the term Moneyball.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, the allegation is every time he threw a pitch in the dirt at a certain time, in accordance with the plan, he got paid $7,000.
That's it?
That's what the allegation is.
So you tell...
So he's got
if he's guilty...
Yeah.
If he's good, you're taking $7,000. You're making $4 million. Of all the people who accuse me of taking $7,000 because of APAC, which I think is ridiculous. Where are we on criticizing these baseball players? That's ridiculous.
Well, kind of weird, isn't it?
It is, and some people have described it and said it's not about the money; it's about the rush.
Really?
You know, because it's like a gambling addiction, and there's like a hormonal response that people get to it, and that's why, you know. So in some cases, like Craig Carton, WFAN, got busted in a ticket sales Ponzi scheme and gambling and all this. Went to jail. He's back on the radio. He was making millions, and with the #1 sports morning show in the country, with Boomer and Carton on WFAN.
Oh, yeah.
And he threw it away. But he's back now. He got out. He learned, but he explained it. He said it was never about the money. It was about the fix. It's like doing a drug.
What does this mean for sports going forward?
You got to take a close look at everything. Everything's got to. I think, you know, one of the best things about the StatCast era in baseball is that everything is logged. You know, you got to look at everything.
Will sports betting be banned?
Never. The industry is way too big, and there's a lot of taxes that come from it. Never. It's not going anywhere.
What it seems to me is the guys that were falling asleep on this one, the commissioner of the NBA, the commissioner of Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
both of them are clowns.
But here's the thing. I don't think the leagues have really thought through the potential for moral temptation of their players for the reasons we just outlined, non-financial,
right?
Part of them, and then the association with mobsters. Remember, back in the 1960s, Paul Hornung was banned from the NFL for a year because of his association with gamblers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They've got to look at this. When you've got the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers being part of a scheme, allegedly, to do these crooked poker games with the big fish that come in, they want to be, playing poker in crooked poker games with mafia types, mob types. Why isn't the commissioner of the NBA saying you cannot associate with mob types?
And that leads to the question, is the commissioner is he in on it? Does he feel threatened if he does that?
He's going to have to do it.
Someone's going, or they're going to have to find a new commissioner who will.
See, but
is there a woke element to this where you can't criticize Chauncey Billups because he's black?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so, but
I don't think so. But the point is that that you're looking at the integrity of the game, and it seems bizarre that Major League Baseball, in essence, banned Pete Rose until after his death from being affiliated with baseball.
That was a raw deal they gave to Pete Rose too.
He did admit he bet on baseball.
He did bet on baseball.
He said he never bet on the Reds. I don't know whether he did or didn't.
He was one of the best ever and should have been in the Hall of Fame because of his on-the-field achievements.
But if they had that standard for Pete Rose,
right,
why don't they have it today when there's FanDuel and all this online betting? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make FanDuel and the prop bet, all that type of stuff. I don't like it. I don't like that. You want to bet on the game? Fine. You bet on the result of the game.
I think maybe you go to FanDuel and say, let's get rid of prop bets.
They got to find something.
Too much temptation.
Way too much.
When we come back, guess what?
I think I know what.
News potpourri?
Yes.
And I've got a quickie quiz for you.
Uh-oh.
It has to do with what Mike Vrabel said about the owner of the Titans.
Oh.
Back after
boy.
this.
Tom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health?
Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, the one, the only Sean Farash, the very best Trump impersonator in the world. Sean, you know what? It's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, News Potpourri. This is the portion of the program we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of
irony.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Did you know that Kamala Harris, you know, the one that spent, over $1 billion and got her clock cleaned at running for president?
The word salad queen.
But did you know she's really good at three-dimensional chess? Did you know that?
Oh, I had no idea.
Just listen to her talk about it. Yeah, here we go.
I was aware of my opponent's strategies, and I wasn't about to fall prey or fall into those traps. And part of his strategy and those around him was to try and take me off our game and message. And I wasn't about to be distracted by those flames that he was trying to throw to get me away from my highest priority, which was talking to people about the economy and their well-being in terms of their financial well-being. And so I understood the game that was being played, and I made a decision that I wasn't going to get played. And
chess, not checkers. Got it. Chess, not checkers.
Yeah, three-dimensional chess. I'm telling you.
What on earth is that about?
I don't know. Well, she's playing chess. She certainly didn't play it very well because she kind of put herself in checkmate a few times. What would you do differently than Joe Biden? Nothing on The View. How are you not ready to answer that question?
It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Bad. You were not playing. She lost a chess match to herself.
Yeah.
The first time it's ever happened.
That is really weird. Okay, you want to talk some more sports here?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Okay, I mentioned earlier that Mike Vrabel, the former coach of the Titans, who was fired after the 2023 season.
Yep.
Was out of football for a year. No, he was kind of an analyst for the Browns.
Yeah, I think so.
And then he'd been hired to be the head coach of the Patriots. The Titans hired Brian Callahan, and in his first year, he went, I think, 3-14.
That was last year.
Yeah, last year. Then in his second year, he went 1-5 before he got fired.
Out.
They've lost 3 subsequent games. In the year and a half,
that's a bad football team right now.
It's the worst in the country.
Ooh.
Worse than the Jets.
Definitely, I think it is. And the Jets just traded a couple of stars away, but that's
the Jets have won 2 in a row. I know. Yeah, you're now. Our listeners would say, "Why is Sean Farash upset about that?" I can tell you why.
Yeah,
you can tell us why.
Yeah, because now they're winning games when they don't matter, and it improves their record. And yes, we were just talking about. We don't want them to throw the games, but now they're winning games, which positions us to have a worse draft pick. Now we have a bunch of them this year, so we could trade them, because the Colts trade, the Cowboys trade, but. They do this all the time. They start the season 1-8, and then they win 3 of their last 7, or 3 of their last 6, or 3 of their last 5 games. You're gonna have to fact check the math because it's a 17-game season now. But you get the point. They have like a 750 win percentage for the end of the year, and we lose like 6 spots in the draft. And wouldn't you know it, like the quarterback that we needed goes to pick before ours.
So
as
it turns out, apparently now the worst record in the NFL is with the Tennessee Titans, 1-8 right
now. Because the Saints won a game. Again.
They've won 2 games.
Yeah.
Now
the Jets and the Saints play each other this year.
So,
gosh.
So here is the quote from Mike Vrabel. He was on WEEI's Greg Hill Morning Show. I think it was yesterday, and from the Boston Sports Journal, a fellow by Mike Jardy basically said that Amy Adams Strunk basically said that she harbors a grudge over Vrabel's departure and is unwilling to engage in trade discussions between the Titans and the. Had you seen this?
No.
Okay, and the Patriots. Let me give you.
But what does she mean? She harbors a grudge? Didn't they fire him?
They asked Vrabel to respond on the show. Let me do my best Mike Vrabel impression.
Okay.
You ready? He basically said, I haven't talked to Amy Adams Strunk since the day she fired me. So don't mention my name and hers in the same sentence. I'm paraphrasing there.
Ooh.
What does that tell you?
Wow, that's bad blood.
That's real bad.
That's
blood.
bad. That's going to be like potentially Tennessee trading talent into the division type of bad blood just to screw him.
Yeah, but he's a good football coach.
He is,
and
the Jets interviewed him. Of course, couldn't close that deal because once the Patriots did,
he played them for a while. But also, let's talk about who's the worst owner in football? Is it Woody Johnson or Amy Adams Strunk?
It's close.
Amy Adams Strunk was able to, persuade. I could use another adjective, another verb to describe it. Taxpayers in the state of Tennessee and taxpayers in Metro Nashville to fund a brand new stadium in downtown Nashville, which is being built.
It's gonna be a nice facility.
The facility will be nice, but with that ownership,
doesn't matter what doesn't matter what the building looks like. It's going to be the same product on the inside. Same as Woody. I think Woody Johnson's an awful owner. I don't know if he's as bad as she is, but I think he's terrible. I think he wants to win. He just doesn't want to learn how.
Well, you would think he would have figured that out by now. Apparently not.
He can't figure it out, and he doesn't want to be taught. He just wants to do it. He's a guy.
What if we? Who would be better off if we traded Woody Johnson for Amy Adams Strunk?
Who'd be better off?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe both teams could benefit from a change of scenery. I think both teams will wind up just being
as bad as they are
because they're bad owners, right?
Sean Farash, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. Up next, Rob Carson. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Central Time. Watch us here on Rumble, and also you can go to our website, TennesseeStar.com. Thanks for joining us today.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com. Listen to Michael Patrick Leahy and make America great again.
FlatFeeNashville.com is a full-service real estate brokerage that charges homeowners a upfront flat fee of $999 to completely list, market, and sell your home. We are all about saving consumers money, saving that equity. Nobody should hire an agent and feel like when that agent walks in the door, that agent is more concerned about the down payment on their next Mercedes purchase versus saving the equity that those homeowners have worked hard for. I've spent my entire career in ensuring that the equity that people save and they put into their monthly mortgage every single month, as much of that as we possibly can goes back to them when they go to list and sell that home. The idea is to give homeowners the ability to really create generational wealth.
FlatFeeNashville.com, FlatFeeNashville.com.